What's up guys, Meredith with ExtremeTerrain.com, and today we are checking out the Oracle Oculus Bi-LED projector headlights with the color shift halo, black housing, and clear lens fitting all 2018 and newer JL Wranglers. Now if you're a fan of color shift headlights or RGB headlights, whether you want your JL to stand out with cool lighting features or you just want to match a specific color scheme, these are going to be right up your alley. Now in addition to the unique color functions of this set, they'll offer a huge improvement in performance if you need a headlight that is also going to boost your confidence when you're driving on dark back roads at night, and will also suit your more outgoing style. Now I do want to mention that there are multiple choices on how to control these lights that I'll cover in just a sec, but just be aware that you will have to choose that option before adding these to your cart, so just make sure to double check that and keep that in mind when you're checking these out. Now these will not only offer a unique appearance in the RGB functions, but also the Bi-LED projector in the center being one large lens with a detailed inner housing surrounding it. The projector and the LED will be a huge step up from the factory halogen with a full and wide beam compared to the scattered and inconsistent halogen bulb and reflector combo, resulting in better visibility. Now really the big feature here though is the dual ring of LEDs with color shift controls to allow endless options from the settings, colors, and other features, all controlled by your choice of one of 4 controllers. Now the controller here on the table is the simple option, which is going to be your most affordable of the 4, being an in-cab mounted standard RGB remote and control box. Now the next one is the wireless RF controller that will be a keychain remote with a 100-foot range with single color modes, 7 color changing modes, and other limited features within the small remote that you can take with you. Now the BC1 controller is the next one, allowing you to Bluetooth in through an app where you can turn your lighting on and off, select from dozens of color variations, illumination patterns, color brightness, adjust the speed, and even control the lights with music. Now the last one, the Color Shift 2.0 infrared remote controller, will be the top option for controllers with over a dozen unique pre-programmed color patterns, a dial for the exact color that you're looking for, 8 memory preset slots on the control box, and even a window to preview the LED that you selected. Now this will include also a handheld remote and an infrared eye extension, as well as the control box with the function, so you can use this with other color shift products from Oracle and have more of a user-friendly system than the 1.0 with the more complex remote. Now again, all of that is going to come down to your personal preference and your price range on what you're looking to do, but I do like the fact that this kit will give you options in how you want to control your setup. Now these lights are going to be durable. There is a lot to the construction, but the housing of the light is going to be very familiar to your factory headlight. It has an ABS plastic housing with a factory style mounting point, so you're not really going to be able to tell a huge difference between the two molded to factory spec. Now on the front, there will be a hard-coated polycarbonate lens, which will hold up incredibly well to any kick-up on-road or off-road and light impact, so if these get whacked by a branch, these are going to hold up. Now again, this will come with multiple options for a controller. We have the more basic choice on the table here, but regardless of which one you pick, it is all going to come with the necessary wiring and everything that you need for the install. Now you are going to have to do some wiring. There are some leads around, but everything on the physical headlight is going to be plug and play and labeled for you, making it fairly straightforward. Now these will be about $700 to $800 depending on which controller that you go with. Now that choice is going to depend on your lifestyle, but this set in general will give you a lot of flexibility when it comes to your style of your JL, whether you want to put on a show at a Jeep event or simply just want to add some fun into your build. Now the Bi-LED will also be sure to add a super unique look by itself, and the dual ring will add to it compared to other RGB choices that may just be a solid single ring. Now that's going to allow you to customize your build and really make it your own. So if you're in search of a high quality option that's going to allow you to do that, this is going to be a great set to look at. Install is going to depend on, again, the controller that you choose, but all of the wiring will be, again, generally easy and mostly plug and play. Now for that reason, I am going to give it a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. There are some open leads as I showed you, so it is going to be some simple wiring taking place in addition to the plug and play steps. So if you are familiar with this type of job, it should only take you about an hour or so to get the job done. Now at this point, we can head over to our shop, check out a detailed breakdown on how you can get these into your JL at home. So that is going to wrap it up for my review. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
The tools you'll need for this project are a 3/8 and/or a 1/4 inch drive ratchet, a 10mm socket, a trim panel removal tool, a pair of wire strippers and crimpers, a pair of needle nose pliers, and you'll also need to source some electrical connectors. Hi everyone. Today we're installing a set of headlights on our Wrangler, so let's get started with the uninstall of our stock headlights. Once you've got your hood lifted and properly supported, first thing we're going to do is remove the 6 push clips along the top of the grill here so that we can go ahead and pull our grill out of the way. So we're going to be using our trim panel removal tool to remove these clips. First thing we're going to do is slide it underneath the top of the clip and slide it in and lift up on it. Then we can go ahead and lift the clip out of the grill. Next thing we're going to do is reach down in the corners of the grill here and pull it out because there's some clips in here along the bottom that hold it in. So we'll just grab a hold of it, pull it out, both sides. Then we can go ahead and just pull it straight out. Now with the grill pulled away from the support, we can go ahead and disconnect our camera. And we're going to be using a small flathead screwdriver to push in on the release lever here just below this gray connector. Now we're going to be using our small flathead screwdriver to push in on the release lever here on the passenger side of the camera just below the gray connector. We'll push in on that, get it to release, and then go ahead and disconnect our camera. And once we've got that disconnected, we can go ahead and remove the washer hose as well, simply by pulling it out that way. With that removed, we can just lift our grill up and out of the way. Now we can go ahead and remove our headlight. We've got 3 bolts, one here at the top, on the outside, one on the inside, and one towards the bottom. So we'll go ahead and use our 10mm socket and remove those bolts. And with our bolts removed, we'll just slide our headlight straight out. And then we can disconnect the headlight connector here by pushing in on the release lever and pulling straight back. And now you can repeat that process for the other light. First thing we need to do to get ready to install our lights is run our DRL wiring harness. And to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to use this included fuse tap, and we're going to tap into one of the fuses in the fuse box here, and then we're going to attach our ground wire to the inside of our fender here. So we need to connect our red wire to our fuse tap. So what we're going to do is we're going to strip off about 1/4 inch, maybe a little more, from the end of our red wire. Twist it together, make sure it doesn't fray. Then we can go ahead and insert that into the blue butt connector on our fuse tap. And once we've got that in place, we'll use our wire crimpers to go ahead and crimp that together. Now with our wire connected to our fuse tap, we can go ahead and insert this into our fuse panel. So what we're going to do is go ahead and remove our fuse panel lid. And the fuse that we're going to be using is F52, which if you're looking at your fuse box from the front, you'll see this silver circuit breaker here. And it's going to be the second fuse in front of that. So this fuse right here We're going to go ahead and pull that out. And then we can go ahead and insert that into our fuse tap. So we're going to have 2 fuses in this fuse tap here so that we don't lose any functionality at all. We're going to run that in front of our air box here. All right, now we'll finish running our wire up along the side of our fender here, and we'll plug our fuse tap back into the original location. All right, then we're going to go ahead and remove this nut here on the ground stud on our fender. And attach our black ground wire to that stud. We'll go ahead and replace our nut. And go ahead and put our fuse cover back in place. Now we can go ahead and run our harness over to our headlights on the passenger side and the driver side. So we'll go ahead and feed this down behind the core support here. And we've got our short harness for the passenger side here. Now the driver side, we're actually going to run it underneath this trim panel here. And drop that down into the cavity. Now you can, once you get all of the harnesses run, just get some zip ties and zip tie the harnesses to the factory harness that's already in place there. Now we can run the harnesses for our RGB lights. And we're going to have 3 harnesses for the driver side and 3 for the passenger side. And you'll be able to tell the difference which is which because obviously the length of the harnesses will be quite different. So again, we're going to take the ends of our harnesses that do not have any connectors on them, and we're going to run those up next behind the battery here in the same general area as what we put our DRL connections to. So we're going to go ahead and feed these through the same way, right next to the air box here, and up along the battery. Now we're not going to worry about positioning them just yet. We'll get everything run and then we'll work on connecting them and tidying everything up. So now we'll go ahead and take the other 3 ends of our harness that all have these connectors on them, and we're going to run them the same way that we ran the DRL harness. Now we can go ahead and run the same 3 for the passenger side. So now we've got our shorter harnesses for the passenger side, and we'll feed them through the same way. We'll just drop these 3 down. And now we can work on making our connections. All right, and as you can see on our harness here, we've got 4 wires. We've got green, blue, red, and black. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect all 6 of these harnesses together by wire color, and then we can connect it to our controller. So we'll give you an idea here of what's going to happen. Put all of our black wires together. All right, so now that we've got all of our black wires together, we'll just go ahead and twist them so that they stay connected. And then using a butt connector, we will go ahead and insert that into one end. And then using our wire crimpers, we'll go ahead and crimp them together. Then just give it a little tug, make sure it's tight, And now you can go ahead and follow this same procedure for all the other wires. Just put all the red ones together, the green ones, and the blue ones. Now, depending on the version of lights that you get, now we have this simple version, the simple controller version. So all we have to do is connect each wire in our controller to our harnesses that we've just connected together. Now you will notice on ours, we have a black, a red, a green, and a white wire. Depending on when yours was manufactured, you may have a white wire as well, or you may actually have the blue wire. So in our case, we're going to connect black to black, red to red, green to green, and white to blue. If you've got a blue one, then of course you would go blue to blue. So let's go ahead and get these connected now to the other end of our butt connectors on our harness and get this thing hooked up. We'll insert our black wire into the connector that's on our black wires. Crimp that down. And now we'll move on to the rest of them. So like I said, we'll hook up our white wire to our blue wires. So because of the tight confines that we're working with here, we've switched out to a different pair of crimpers. But the process is still going to be the same. Insert our white wire into the end of the butt connector connected to our blue wires, and go ahead and crimp those down, locking it in place. And now we can move on to the rest of the wires. All right, now that we've got our control module attached to all of our harnesses, now we can go ahead and hook up power to our control module. And this we're going to do by connecting directly to the battery. That way you can control the RGB lights while the vehicle is off. So what we're going to do is separate our red and black wires on the controller here so that we can connect one to the positive and one to the negative terminal on the battery. Now, as you can see, we don't have any connectors on the end of our wires. So we're going to be using a couple of ring connectors to attach to the end of the wires so that we can get this hooked up to the battery. So we're going to strip some of the insulation off the end of the wire. And once we've got it into our ring connector, we can go ahead and crimp it on. And we'll do the same thing for the other wire. All right, now we're going to go ahead and use our 10mm socket and remove the nut on our positive side of the battery. And connect the red wire from our controller to that terminal. We'll do the same thing for the negative side. Now, because we're not making this a permanent addition to our vehicle, we're not going to bother of wrapping these all up nice and tidy. We're just going to kind of wrap them up a little bit and stick them down beside the battery. Now, when you do yours, you can obviously use whatever method you find necessary to go ahead and zip tie them together just to keep them all straight and even, and then just tuck them down next to the battery. Now we can go ahead and start connecting up our harnesses to our light. Now, the only one that you really have to pay attention to in our system, because of the fact that we have the simple controller, is the DRL lights. And you can tell the DRL harness from the rest of the harness because this is the only one that does not have a label on it. So we'll find the DRL driving mode light cable on our light, line up the tabs and the arrows, and connect that, and go ahead and screw the cap on. Now we can go ahead and connect the rest of them. Like I said, they are labeled on the light. Like we have Demon Eye RGB, we have Inner Halo RGB, and we have Outer Halo RGB. For our case, because we have the simple controller, it doesn't matter which one we hook up to. So we'll just go ahead and plug them all in. Screw down the cap. Then we'll plug our light in to our harness. All right, now we can go ahead and put our wires back inside the cavity. Get our light in place and secure it using the original hardware. Now we'll tighten them all down with our 10mm socket. And now you can repeat that process for the other side. With our lights fully installed, now we can go ahead and reinstall our grill. We'll line up our tabs. Now we can reconnect our camera washer and our camera and finish our installation. We'll reconnect our hose, plug in our camera. Now we'll line up our tabs at the bottom of our grill. Push those in at the bottom, make sure they're latched. Now we'll go ahead and install our original push pins to secure the top of the grill. And your installation is now complete. Now that we've got our lights installed, we can use our remote control to actually start the lights up. So all you have to do is press the on button and the lights will fire up. And then you can select from the multiple colors on here as to what you want it to do, what color you want. Since our vehicle is blue, let's just change it to blue for right now. And then you've got other functions on the side, such as flash, a fade, a smooth, a strobe effect, and you can change the colors as well. And that wraps up our review and install of the Oracle Oculus Bi-LED projector headlights with color shift halo with the black housing and clear lens for your 18 and a newer Jeep Wrangler JL. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Wrangler, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.